Hey guys, it's LegomationStudio here with the first of the Throwbots Reviews. As you know, every Wednesday we are uploading Throwbot Reviews, and every Friday we are uploading Bionicle Classic Reviews. From our last Bionicle Classic review, I'm sure you guys are all aware of this, and now we shall start with the Throwbots Reviews. So, to get a start on the Throwbots, they were released in 1999, and they were similar to Bionicle, or the later released Lego Robo-Riders. They were known as the Throwbots in North America, but actually they were called the Slithers in Europe. Slithers, yeah. And basically the name Throwbot refers to the unique disc throwing function that they all had, which they had actually brought later in 2004 and 5 of Metro Nui Saga of Bionicle. But the point is that that's why they were called Throwbots, and then the Slithers, I don't know, because the disc was like a slicer, it would slice through things. I don't know where that came from, but yeah, mainly North America called them Throwbots, but Slithers were what they were called in Europe. But they both are the same thing, don't get them mixed up or anything. But Robo-Riders are a completely different story. Reason why we're not getting Robo-Riders to review is because unlike the uniqueness that Throwbots had, Robo-Riders were just a bunch of motorcycles, just different colors and maybe with a different weapon here or there. Not like Bionicle didn't go by that. They sure had a couple of sets, series of sets like Borok that really just were all the same. But I really think that the uniqueness of Throwbots is why we were reviewing them and why people think they're so much cooler than like Robo-Riders. Ugh. But yeah, there were basically altogether 12 characters released in this series. When I was like 6 or 7, I had a Lego set and I saw an old advertisement of these guys. And I went at the store and they didn't have them. And since then they've put me in awe and inspired to get them. And now that I'm old enough to really understand the internet world, I was able to find these on eBay. Let's go on to the story. There were kind of two really different versions. The Slithers had, apparently the Slithers story was that they had 8 respective planets where each of the 8 dwelled respectively: the fiery wasteland, aquatic world, overgrown jungle, icy mountains, industrial city, stormy fields, and rocky canyons. The 8th planet, Jets, served as the point where they dueled of disputes were settled. Each of them had battles in native mutant wildlife or other threats to their planet. That was basically the American/Canadian and some part European story, that they were a bunch of different separate planets. And then here's the other dual story. It was that there was the singular planet story. The European storyline was that there were 8 robots fighting in a war against each one another for one planet, which had been split into 7 even continents and regions. And this is the only one that we have a clear picture of. Here's a picture. With the Slicer Dome situated at the North Pole. In this storyline, in this storyline, some have gone to some lengths to say that there were 2 sides. 4 were good, the 4 here on the top, and the other 4 down here were evil. But the concept of facing their respective natural threats in their zones was always present. And this inclusion that each of them was trying to find additional minerals, fuels, and other things to make them stronger, such as lava stones, air pearls, ice crystals, power fuel, herbal tree sap, liquid plasma and rock, and electrical radiation. Each of those going to their certain characters here. And the last power-up for Judge here, or Jet, it's really unknown what his power-up was. In either storyline, though, of both of those, of the one planet split into parts or the 8 separate planets, all the characters were evenly matched. The story had reached a climax when eventually near the summer story, when a meteor had struck the singular Slicer planet and blew it apart. It blew apart half the planet, annihilating energy, rock, jungle, regions, and heavily damaging the Slicer Dome where the Jet Slicer resided, giving no explanation for how all 8 settled on the planet. It just kind of was crazy out there, real sci-fi, let me tell you. But in addition to the half of the planet eventually being destroyed by this meteor, later that summer, when that story came to about, there was a new part of the story which was never fully explained, because then Robo Riders were released and then Bionicle came. So really, the story never caught on. Some believe that the new Slizers, which were brought by the asteroid, or some believe that they were unburied by the asteroid, or the asteroid mutated jungle, energy, and rock and judge Slizers, because later that summer more Titans and stuff came out. And I think that the most respective idea from what those new characters, besides these guys that were released later, was that these had all become extinct, but they had been mutated by this meteor that hit the planet. I think that's what the truest thing is, because on one of the Titans, I like calling them Titans because they were the big sets, it has half of Judge Slizer's face and half of Jungle's face. And I think that pretty much explains itself. But in addition to the 4 new Slizers that appeared that summer, this part of the story never being explained, it left many dedicated fans to many, many unanswered questions, even more than we Bionicle fans are left with. This was because the toy line was ended with the sudden release of LEGO Technique Robo Riders toy line that was released in December 1999. And then soon after, the Bionicle story line was released. That's a mouthful! And that took up a lot of video, which is why this whole video is just of the superset. But that is basically the whole background. You can Wikipedia it, or go on Biosector, I think even has some stuff about these, even though they're not Bionicle. But it's really kind of a weird, interesting thing that I'd like to see you YouTubers maybe even try to make movies out of. Before we head on to some of the cool ideas that the sets were built into, let's just talk about this set. The new, well, old really, Throwbots Super Set. I know plenty of you guys on YouTube are probably going to make videos of it. I know H2O is, but I'm telling, H2O650, he's kind of cool guy, really. But, no one really has this box, the Super Set. And if you do, it is even rarer than some of the sets themselves. I don't even know how many they released, but I think this was a Toys R Us exclusive, and it included all 8 of them. It was very rare that these guys were even sold all together in this super set. They are mostly separate little boxes, but inside here, all the canisters are in it as well. First, we have the Torch and Fire Slizer from the Fire sector of the planet. And then we have the Scuba Slizer from the Subsector, the Ice Slizer from Ice Sector, the Turbo Slizer, or City Slizer, and he's from the Urban sector of the planet. And then we have Jet, the Judge Slizer, from the Judge sector, the sector where they kind of just fought, kind of like Latorian Arena, where all these guys fought for survival and for needs to survive. And then Amazon, or the Jungle Slizer, from the Jungle sector. And then Granite, the Rock Slizer, or the Rock Slizer Throwbot from the Rock sector. And then lastly, Electro, the weirdest one of them all, where he's like an Energy Slizer from the Energy sector. I don't know. Or Throwbot. Remember, each time I say Slizer or Throwbot, you could use both of those metaphors either way. And then there were a bunch of mutant Slizers. Let me show you some pictures. There was Millennia, the Millennium Slizer, Blaster, the Blaster Slizer, Flare, and Spark. Flare and Spark were these kind of sized guys, but Blaster and Millennia were 2 Titan sized. This is basically all of the characters, and when we review each one of them, we'll talk more about each of them. So, again, let's look back at the rear box that these came in. Turn it on the back. Nothing really important on the side, it's just advertising again. But we turn it on the back, and we have a picture of the 2 combiners that you can make. Of the first 8, Jungle, Jet, Electro, and Granite, you could put together to make this big, awesome combination. We got another combo, and this combo is of the other 4. We have Ice, Scuba, Fire, the Torch, and Mr. City Slider there, Turbo. And they made this one, which is really a blue consisting. Each of these had their own discs, and Really just awesome combinations there. And they both have like lightning behind them, cool colors in the canyons or in a cave. Includes all 8 sets to create 2 super robots. Oh yeah. There's even a little date down here. It says 1999, just so proof of purchase, so I can show people and they'll go, whoa. Made in Switzerland. That's funny. But yeah, Lego Technique. So that's the super set for you guys. I highly doubt anyone else on YouTube is going to show this, whether they show the Throwbots, each of them or not. Sorry, we're not going over any sets now, but we will, however, release a couple in between, not by going the Wednesday, Friday, so that way we can get all these out. We might go off once a day, so expect a surprise review once in a while. But these are all what came in this box, and we're going to go over a bit of the disc idea now. By showing you some more pictures, basically, each of these comes with 2 discs, and there were even packs of discs that are given out that you can still find online. And basically, each of the discs had a certain amount of little circles that were like lights, and the more that were lighted up, the more powerful and rare that your disc was. Most of these are only like 2 or 3 dots out of like 7. But if you found one that had 7, it's considered more rare. Like I told you, each of these guys would come with 2 discs. One was just a disc with a picture of them and had no lights, and then there was one given an element with lights. But that's all you guys really need to know, is just like how Bionicle and everything have. This is another thing, is that each of these like technique sets, all like Bionicle, the thing about them was they had masks that had powers. These small things that were important to each one of them. Throwbots, you had these discs that was important to each one of them. That's the similarities that makes them so cool. Hero Factory, they don't got poop that's big about them. They've just got these awesome little characters. There's nothing, they don't have like a little thing that each one of them comes with that differentiates and gives them certain, I don't think so. And that's another thing that I think gave Bionicle and these old sets such big noticeable things, is that they just had these special separate things that came with them. My mouth is getting so dry from talking. I'm just going to quickly end it up by saying, check out the reviews. After this box, at the end here, I'm going to show you guys the boxes of the other guys that I've got that came later, the other 4. But super set, totally rare, really awesome, and if you can find it on eBay, I found this. Each of these guys probably goes about $30, $50, just one of them. And altogether, I got this super set for about $150, I think. And free shipping, so very awesome. And it also came with Blaster. Blaster came with the same eBay auction that these came with. And Blaster is basically one of the Titans released that summer, and I'm so glad I got him with this because he's very rare. He can go from like $50 now online, but is really cool. It's kind of a regular size of a Toa, just a little bit bigger. Like a Toa and a half, kind of, if I were to compare. On the back, you can see kind of a pretty clear picture of the planet and what went on, but we'll go over that more when we review him. This is basically the other set that was released. Then we have Millennia. Millennia, this is like one of the last ones I found online. That's 100. I like to buy things 100% in the box, never opened. And that's what we got for this guy, Millennia here. Usually goes to $70 or $80 now, and is another really cool guy. Blaster and Millennia, just to let you know, is like basically came after the asteroid. They came in the summer. And then the last 2 are the regular sized Throwbots, kind of like the ones that came in the super set. Those for 8 of them. And first we have Flare. We have Flare, the Flare Slicer. As you can see, Flare is kind of a mix of a bunch of people, and I don't have his box because he is so rare, along with Spark. I don't have him, but here's a picture of him. He is the most rare of everything, Spark. But then the next is Flare here. I was very lucky to find Flare, but yeah, it didn't come with his box, but came with his canister, all the pieces, and instruction booklet. Just the cardboard box didn't come with him. But still, I found him I got him for great condition, and is just so rare. Along with Spark. And these are just 2 small guys that were released with the 2 big guys of that summer. Ending it off that way. Yeah, overall, I hope you guys look forward to these reviews. Sorry this really wasn't a review, it was kind of a recap before review, but expect a review really like, I don't know, let's just say tomorrow. I mean, I want to get these out, because I know you guys are probably like, what, we don't get to see an actual set? But this was an overview of the story, an overview of everything so we could have enough time, and to look at the superset box, and all three of the other ones we're going to review. Sadly, we don't have this other one, Spark. We only have Flare here. But hopefully we'll be able to find him sometime soon. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Now you've understand a lot about Throwbots / Slizers and what they were really known for. If you can find them online, that's great. I would go and get them if you're really into that. But besides that, this is LegomationStudio signing off. See you guys next time with Torch. See ya.